For the first time in history, a sitting head of state has been forcibly removed and captured by U.S. Delta's force operators in a midnight raid.
But the reason this is so big in the United States is because Venezuela has been known to import illegal substances in and out of the United States.
But before we get to that, let's go look at what President Donald Trump had to say on national television just a couple hours ago.
And I know this speech was very long, but that's why I'm going to show you only 4 minutes of it. I know 4 minutes is a long time, but you could watch Trump all day. But I suggest go and watching it on your own time, the full video in its context.
Thank you very much. This is big stuff, and we appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Cilia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors, operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement, caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was more importantly killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland.
One of the biggest parts about regime change inside of Venezuela is that national security will be up. Criminal charges against Maduro and his wife were taken down to New York to face indictment crimes for their narco-terrorism, cocaine importation, and weapon charges. The U.S. argues that Maduro's government functioned as a narco state that flooded the United States with illegal drugs. The operation, part of Operation Southern Spear, was presented as a warning to other leaders that the U.S. will use military force to protect its interests and hold foreign officials accountable for their alleged criminal activities.
Since we have started a regime change in Venezuela and we are temporarily running their government, I've seen that the vice president of Venezuela, she has gladly allowed us to cooperate with them, and so we are going to take their oil and sell it to other countries and use some for ourselves.
And it's not that we're cooperating with them, they're cooperating with us.
Yeah, and so I've seen a lot of videos about how immigrants here or refugees talk about how they needed someone to take over it because it was just so bad with the illegal drugs and everything that was illegal that they were doing there.
Yeah, with the money that we are getting from the oil reserve, we will be using that revenue to repay us for going over there and starting this regime change for the greater good of the Venezuelan people. Well, that does it here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Justice Smith.
I'm Levi Smith.
And you're watching The Political Record.